go.
Good morning, good morning. Good morning it is today. Today we celebrate 100 days of the Biden-Harris administration. In that time, working together, Democrats have made historic progress to defeat the pandemic and to address the economic crisis, administering over 200 million doses. Imagine the president had 100 million as his goal, and we've exceeded 200 million shots, delivering over 160 million checks and putting $1 trillion into workers' pockets. And we've made historic progress to build back better, cutting child poverty in half. Imagine, in the rescue package, initiative to cut child poverty in half, delivering health care to an additional 800,000 Americans through the ACA because of the provisions in the rescue package that enables more people to have access to the subsidies. This is so exciting. I feel very proprietary about the Affordable Care Act. And creating 1.3 million jobs, more jobs in the first 100 days than any president ever. All of this puts our economy back on track to grow 6% this year. That's not my figure. That's according to the International Monetary Fund. The IMF has said, and this is the fastest pace in over 40 years, in nearly 40 years. As the president said last night, America is moving. Last night was historic. It was the first time two women, the Vice President of the United States and the Speaker of the House, sat behind the president as he delivered his address to the nation. It sent the message to girls and women that beyond the sky is the limit. We would say the sky is the limit years ago, but now with the technology that we see, there is no limit. The president's speech reflected that message. It's one thing to have two women there. It's remarkable, actually, I say immodestly. But what's really important about the night was what the president said in his speech. It was a triumph for women, women at home, women in the workplace. Equal pay for equal work, paid family and medical leave, affordable child care, universal pre-K. I love that because it's children learning, parents earning. Men and women, but largely women as caregivers. The Violence Against Women Act that he urged the passage of in the Senate, and many other initiatives for women. The list goes on. This address was a recognition that we can only build back better with the fuller participation of women in our economy. So I indeed thought it was a triumph for women. This is an ambitious, transformative vision for seizing a once-in-a-century opportunity to build back better. The bold investments of the American Jobs Plan, the American Family Plan, invest in the foundations of our strength, families, workers, and the middle class. The Jobs Plan is the largest plan since World War II, and the Families Plan will make historic differences for families. The Democratic House looks forward to working with the administration to enact this vision. Congress will work its will. We have many ideas in our caucus, and our committees are hard at work advancing the American Jobs Plan and the American Families Plan. Just to go back to the president's address, I mean, we're talking about it, but specifically, he lifted up the progress made by the rescue plan, told people what's in it so that they can be sure to avail themselves of the benefits of it and what can be done in the American Jobs Plan. In addition to all of that, he talked about other priorities for our community and therefore some pieces of legislation already passed the House or the Senate. The George Floyd Justice and Policing Act that we're optimistic will see some progress in a bipartisan way soon. Gun violence prevention bills, very popular across the country among gun owners and the rest. This is just only in the Congress of the United States is there objection, but there is bipartisanship or nonpartisanship on this subject across the country. H.R. 1, for the people. This is about our democracy. We must pass this legislation. We have in the House. The leader has called it a priority in the Senate, Mr. Schumer, and then what they did pass in the Senate, and we have to take up in the House, is the COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act, led by Mazie Hirono in the Senate, Grace Meng in the House. Then we'll take this up when we come back. The Equality Act, ending discrimination against the LGBTQ community, passed the House, popular in the country. Corporate America, by and large, supports the legislation. Let's just get that done. Immigration reform, as the president called for, Dreamers and TPS, etc. Let's just get popular across the country in a bipartisan way. Action to lower prescription drug prices. We've been working on this for almost a generation. It's time to do that. If we can pass the legislation to enable the secretary to negotiate for lower prescription drug benefits, it will be an assist to America's working families. Overwhelmingly, in any poll that you take, the cost of health care is a challenge to America's working families because of the cost of prescription drugs. With the Affordable Care Act, we have lowered the rate of increase of the cost of medical care, except for the cost of prescription drugs. These and other initiatives will be addressed by either one of our houses, as is appropriate, and the House is proud of the progress that we have made, and we are committed to ensuring that these bills become law. So again, 100 days. What a difference a day makes. What a transformation 100 days makes. Thank you, Mr. President. Especially thank you for making your speech, your presentation, such a triumph for women. Any questions? Yes, ma'am. Hi, good morning.
You covered a lot of topics this morning on CBS. I want to ask about something that didn't come up about the House itself. Roughly, two questions. Roughly, what percentage of the House do you think is fully vaccinated right now? And then second, there has been some pushback, from both the right and the left about requiring social distancing and fully masked participants last night. Why not consider something like requiring that everyone be fully vaccinated? Why require masks at a time when public health officials want the message to be about vaccination?
Well, public health officials still encourage wearing masks indoors. But your question is an excellent one that should be made to every member of Congress. We are guided by the Capitol attending physician and the sergeant at arms, but the science demands why we have masks on still. With more, as you rightly point out, with more vaccinations, we should be able to have shorter period of time for voting so that we, if we're all vaccinated, still with a mask inside, but nonetheless. Perhaps when we are speaking would be a time we could, as you did, take down the mask, but so far that's not what we can do. So here's the thing. We cannot require someone to be vaccinated. That's just not what we can do. It is a matter of privacy to know who is or who isn't. I can't go to the Capitol physician and say, give me the names of people who aren't vaccinated so I can go encourage them to, or make it known to others to encourage them to be vaccinated. So we can't do that. But you would hope that science would guide them to protect themselves, their family members, and be good colleagues in the workplace to get vaccinated. And the sooner that happens, the better for everything in terms of, because all of the requirements that we had last night were not about security by and large. That security issue is always there when the President of the United States is president. But in terms of COVID had us in a room where normally 1,600 people would be gathered for the address by the President of the United States, 1,600 people to 200, I think it was 204 people, because the Capitol physician insisted that social distancing, that mask wearing were necessary so that we are not contributing to the spread of COVID, especially with the President of the United States there, but also in terms of the Congress of the United States. So if we could, but we can't, require vaccinations for the members, much less for the American people. Some people want to say, don't come into my store unless you're vaccinated, this or that. It causes commotion. But we don't have too much. I mean, there are some individuals who say, and I don't even know who they are, but if you say there are, that they don't want to social distance and they don't want to wear a mask, but that's incidental. It's not anybody important.
The House is vaccinated, do you know right now?
The percentage?
Yeah.
It's about, I think it's about 75%. It's about, it may be in the last few days some more, but I think it's about 75%. But again, the physician cannot tell us, Democrats, Republicans, or who. And that's right. We should be respecting people's privacy, but that's approximately what it is. And the Republicans come up to me and say, let's shorten the time for votes, let's shorten the time for votes. I said, well, tell your friends to get vaccinated. That would help. That would help a lot. What do you got, Chad? Well, he sits in front. You guys have to just ace him out because he's so Chad.
49ers guards or tackles or something.
I got the Warriors colors on today.
In any event, did you get to hear any of Senator Scott's response?
No, I didn't, because we were thanking the Capitol Police and the custodial staff for making the day possible, so I didn't see it. I usually don't see it.
Is there anything that you have read about or something that you think is from his message that maybe you hope you could work with them, or from that message, or not?
I didn't see it, but the one thing I did hear was that he was ready to continue the discussion about the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, and I think that was a very good message to come from that. And we're very proud of Karen Bass and the work that she has done in a bipartisan way on the House side and now on the Senate side, working with Cory Booker and Senator Scott for sure, a very important factor in all of this. So that was one thing that I saw in the news that came out. But for us, when the president comes, whatever the party, whatever the capacity, it's until midnight, and the president was very gracious in wanting to, suggesting that he say thank you to the custodial staff who suffered so much at January 6th and who are continued to make the Capitol work as well as the security.
Madam Speaker.
Yes, ma'am.
As far as the metal detectors are concerned, Jim Clyburn was fined $5,000 for breaching one of the metal detectors. And now a pending lawsuit that Andrew Clyde is being talked about. Can you respond to that now that one of your own?
No, I think that we are safe protecting the members of Congress, and if people have